Exploring America's most historic neighborhood. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me is Dr. David Young. He's Executive Director of Clifton of the National Trust, and he is with the Germantown neighborhood. Thanks so much for being with us.
Good to be here.
We've all heard of Germantown, but define that for us. You say it's America's most historic neighborhood. Why so?
Well, it was a place where William Penn's bold ideas that different people of different faiths could all live together in one colony was first tried out, beginning in 1683. It's the scene of the first protest against slavery drafted in North America in 1688. There's an underground railroad station that's still standing. George Washington set up his White House in 1793 there. And it's a scene of one of the few revolutionary battles to take place in Pennsylvania in 1777. It also has great 20th century history. The Harlem Renaissance came to Germantown in 1928, and there are milestones connected to American history's political, cultural, social, literary, artistic history. We call it the long arm of Germantown. The president has Germantown roots, as do many, many other families going back 13, 14 generations.
So obviously a vibrant community today, and we can explore 250 years of American history in one neighborhood. 15 different sites to explore as part of Germantown. Let's talk a little bit about your hands-on history program. You have a program called History Hunters. 5 of your sites can be explored through this program. Talk to us about how it works.
History Hunters is a literacy-based program that has been led by Stenton, which is a 1730 house, one of the coolest sites in all of Philadelphia. And Stenton is a colonial site, but the History Hunters come as journalists, as reporters, to explore 250 years of history at authentic historic sites, including the Underground Railroad Station, the Johnson House, Wick, the oldest house in Philadelphia, a 1690 property, and also Cliveden, the revolutionary site, as well as the Germantown Historical Society, one of the great neighborhood historical societies. Germantown Avenue is the longest national colonial district in the country at 2 miles long, and from Stenton all the way up to Cliveden, there's really quite a diversity of historic sites still standing, and in the 21st century you really get a feel for that. The students ask questions, they do hands-on activities, and then they do a series of post-visit activities with their teachers to continue to explore their own family trees, their own connections to what's good, bad, and also historic in their own communities.
Just some of the things that you actually represent within this one neighborhood. You mentioned the Underground Railroad and sites associated in Germantown with the Underground Railroad, but you also mentioned the Harlem Renaissance, not necessarily something we think of associated with Germantown.
Yes, this is a fascinating story. In 1928, the who's who of the African American cultural elite came to Germantown to put on one of the first forerunners of what became Black History Month. And in April, for 1 week in April, people celebrated African American contributions to history, art, and literature. W.E.B. Du Bois spoke at the Y. Elaine Locke, Laura Wheeler Waring, Clarence Cameron White, the first musician in the New York Philharmonic who was African American, all came to Germantown. And it's really one of those undertold stories because so much about Germantown's history has been colonial. But the more we find out about a historic neighborhood like Germantown, the more exciting it becomes.
All right, exploring 250 years of Germantown.
330, really.
Really. All right, thanks so much for being with us. We've been talking with Dr. David Young. I'm Jill Horner.